request, kind of hoping for a settlement, and then the city, if they do receive monies, then they could spend it however they see fit, and hopefully it'll get funded one way or another. But there is a big intent of getting water out there.
Okay. Thank you.
I ask, how big a water line are they planning? Is it like 4 inch, 6 inch
Answer that. I don't think.
to
Have
fill
we
a
haven't engineered
tanker?
or not?
We haven't done a design, we
No.
haven't paid an engineer to actually design that, so there, that would come up in the design.
You'd probably have to have a tank buffer anyway to dump the plane fast. Or something like that.
Yeah, something, yeah.
The water line won't supply the fill
Mhm.
directly.
And I'm sure it'll probably require pressure boosters probably as well, how to get the water up
Pressure
there.
pumps, yeah,
Yeah,
booster pumps,
yeah.
but like I said, I mean, nobody's actually sat down and looked at it to see what we're gonna need. It's just kind of
Discussion
a
at
wish
this point.
list per se. If we get funding for it, obviously in conjunction with the water guys and see what they need or how that's gonna impact the actual city system.
Okay.
Quick question, are those cannons helping? Do you know? You can tell? You don't
I
know?
mean, I don't know.
They're
They're
not-
supposed to be.
They're not, the elk haven't been around those much, or do you still see?
They
them?
have not, and I don't know if that's, due to the cannons or just they moved
They
on.
get tired of getting run over.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well, the cannon was already
They've taken a beating.
cannon was
in play when the second plane hit the elk, so I guess that kind of answers that question, right?
It wasn't working that well.
It wasn't working that well. You know, elk and wildlife, they get familiar
They get used to it.
constant noises, and
Right.
they figure it out that it's not a threat, you know, so.
Yeah, I drive right by them at my house, they don't care.
Yeah, they get accustomed to that activity or regular sounds and vehicles, whatever.
Okay. So that's not, yeah, sounds like not.
I don't think it's that effective, honestly. Maybe for a few days.
I have one quick question on the accidents with the elk. Was that during the time the airplane was landing, or were they taxiing, or what was the time?
During, the approach, landing.
Okay, and was it at the far end of the runway when the airplanes were landing pretty
Probably
higher
the
speed?
first quarter of runway
Okay.
32.
All right, thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, item 2, status of the lighting and signage project. Where are we at on that, John?
So we got the signs in, they're ordered, we doing the pay request for those soon, hopefully. We are waiting for Provide to appropriate, hopefully some more funding. We are going to have to move the signs over a little bit. I don't know if you remember the signs we put up last time, the bigger signs.
Yes.
They need to be a little further off of center line, so we've
We've got to relocate those.
we gotta relocate the concrete, so we're looking for funding for that. But it's in the progress. Also to address, item 5, the 2 signs that were broken will be replaced, with the new signage project. So that, I mean, we already have the signs, so we're not looking at trying to wait with the wait time, trying to get signs now for 6 months, you know, maybe longer, so it doesn't make sense to try to get new signs temporary until we get the project started. It doesn't.
So the intent is this extra work for new pads would be included in Electric Horseman's current contract, is that right, John?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay. Okay. And we're waiting on approval from the FAA for the change order funding, is that?
It would probably be through the state, like it's gonna be state funded, the change order, but yes, we're waiting on that
Okay,
from Jane.
Jane?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion, gentlemen?
Not on that project. hoping it'll, by the next meeting, we'll have a little bit more. We may have to postpone depending on weather at that point because it'll be in January.
Mhm.
So I don't know when the new funding, when we'll get it, so. Unfortunately, I don't know. I can't give you guys a timeline on when it's gonna start, so.
Okay. Well, until you get the funding approved, you can't
Yeah.
approve the change order, so
Yeah.
that's okay. I hear you got a new mower. Status of the mower equipment, John, where you at on that?
Usually in the driver's seat cutting weeds, but, no, it's nice. It's a great piece of equipment. We pretty much caught up on most of the mowing that we needed to do. We've extended some of the mowing a little further due to the wildlife problems, but, it's great. Everything's good. It, came with a snow plow and, forklift and a few other attachments that we thought we could use at the airport, so.
Look, it came with a
Yeah.
snowplow.
It did,
Good.
Wow,
so.
that'll be good.
Well, that will be good. That will be good.
We're gonna have big snows this winter.
Really?
Are we?
I don't-
Good news.
You feel it in your bones?
Yeah, yeah.
That's just you're getting old, sorry.
With that and even with that same grant, zero turn,
Mower was also purchased, right, John? If
yes,
you want to inform him on that.
Yeah,
which were
zero
both
turn.
state funded.
Really?
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, we had some additional monies left and, John reached out to him, right, for approval to purchase that
The
additional.
zero
Zero
turn,
turn?
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
which you guys
allowed
have
it.
seen me on
Right. Yeah,
most of the summer.
yeah, that zero turn is, well, it kind of works real good for runway lights for sure.
Yeah, it
you
does.
know.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion on mowing equipment? Move to item 4, discussion on the proposed estimate for game fencing. We've already had that conversation. That was 1.4 million, from the engineer.
Again, an estimate, but.
Yeah. Any other discussion on that item?
And that was coming from FAA or from the state?
Well, I
I
think
think
what,
you mentioned it.
I think what the thought is if that game fencing item could be included or is included, it is included in the FEMA request for damages
Oh, okay,
for the
that's
Calf
right.
Canyon fire.
Mhm.
And that's where obviously, long-term, the airport layout plan would include game fencing for the entire project. But, the game fencing really can't proceed until we've got funding some way and also have a boundary survey, so we're sure we're putting the fence where it goes.
So we are going to council tomorrow for the game fence, and it'll be funded through the state rule. So we do have a council item for it tomorrow to see if council approves our match and the state funding for it.
And through the state aviation division, Daniel, is that right?
Yes.
So it might be either.
Yeah, so tomorrow we are going to council for it,
Yeah.
to see if we get it approved by council for the state to
And
start
would
the
FEMA
process.
possibly reimburse that, or that just wouldn't happen then, or do you know it?
What this approval is to request approval to go out for the request, right, Dan?
That happens
Well,
first?
it's not accepting money at this point.
Okay,
It's
that's a
getting
plan.
approval from mayor and council to go, to submit the request, guaranteeing that we will provide the match, the required match. It's a process that's required for those state
The
grants.
state grants.
Yes, sir.
And
At
then,
this point, and then, once you show that you're committed to, your match and stuff, then they process it for possible funding. And then if we do get awarded, then we gotta go back to mayor and council to approve, receiving the funds.
Okay.
and I know timing's kind of a crazy question, but this is a long-term thing, even with FEMA and all this is still like like a year or something out, probably, right? Or, I don't know.
Yeah, it would probably be a year. I'm gonna just say that we're gonna be applying for the grant, that's what we're going for council for, to apply for it and to, approve our match waiver.
So a year would be, we'd be happy if you get it in a year kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, either one of them, both of them are processes that require some time. And I think really what would determine which fund we use is who funds us first.
Okay.
And what is the match?
Six,
Percentage-wise?
7,000, I think it is, 5%.
5%? And are those matches typically waived?
No,
No, okay.
Some funding,
Funding sources do have match waivers, but this particular one doesn't have a match waiver.
Okay, yeah. Oh.
Any other discussion? Okay. We've actually covered, item 5 as well. That, as you heard John said, that we already have new signs, that the signs that were damaged will be replaced with new signs, and we have purchased those as part of the lighting and signage project, so.
Right.
And we're just waiting on, so, let's say item 5's covered. Item 6, Doc, what's going on with the hangar door at the upper hangar?
Well, it's working. We've got new cables on there. That was a good thing. I was wondering, don't we have one new motor and we have one older motor, or
They both, I don't remember.
it sounds good when you pick it up. The motors sound better. I don't know. I know one of them. I thought one a new motor. The one motor burnt out, and then we had to, and that
they
caused that
replaced the
initial.
motor and then they replaced the brake.
The what?
The brake.
Oh yeah. And so
And redid the cables on it. And then
Yeah.
they changed the polarity of the switch so that it's right.
right. Does it doesn't seem to have the stop on the bottom. Have you tried that? Have you seen, if you keep holding the down, it'll keep turning, and so it'll actually reverse the cables?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I mean, we'll stop it. I mean,
I
it's
was
easy
gonna
enough
say,
to
I
know.
mean, when it gets to the bottom, let's
Stop it.
stop it.
Yeah, you stop.
I don't know. I will talk to the electrician and see if he can get the
Yeah. One thought I
limiters in
had.
place or why they're not in place.
Yeah, I mean, that's not that big of an issue, and what I wanted to bring up is probably not a big thing either, but we've gone a little ways to get the motors, the cables are working, the door is still, I think, could use a little bit of support. I wonder about getting the city engineer over there to look and see if we could put in weld in a few extra braces in the door, if it would help.
One's broken. One of the
Well,
diagonals is
the
broken.
diagonals, those are the cross braces, those need to be back in, and or weld in either something to stabilize that frame a little bit more, and then reskin the door. If you were to put in either where you've got the uprights, some diagonals, or verticals, just a little extra support, and I'm sure the city has an engineer. He could go look at it and say, what's the most likely place to help? Just stabilize that door and then reskin it for two reasons. One, I think that would help stabilize that door. It just needs to be, it's flimsy. I mean, when one cable gives away, it has a catastrophic effect on the rest. And that's what happened when that one motor went out, and the door gets in a mess. It's just, it needs a little more stability. I think new tin on the front of the door would stabilize the door a little better, and it'd look better. I mean, that's the one eyesore at the Clinton. You've done a great job on the tarmac. Everything else is coming around. It's looking really good. Back to even getting the trees pruned away and whatnot. The last one detail is that door. But I think more importantly, I think it would add a little extra support, stability on that door. It'd be a little more solid. That's my 2 cents on that. And I think that wouldn't be that big of an expense to see about if we, and an engineer may say, no, you don't need anything else welded in there. I kind of think it would help to have a little extra support. And then there's one cross brace it's still broke right there by the walk-through door. Stabilize it and put a new tin on it. I think everything would look better, and I think the door would be more solid and have fewer problems down the road versus trying to put a new door on there. I think that's not gonna happen and doesn't need to happen if we were to just stabilize it a little more. Having, and I don't know, have a, doesn't the city have an engineer that they use, or do they contract to each
We had a conversation amongst ourselves here, though, about replacing, that door.
door?
Is they're
That'd be
just
cool.
replacing it really, because when you start, having to get an engineer to look at, and that cost, and then also, rebuilding it, reskinning it, all that, and you still have an old door. You know what I mean? In our opinion, we thought maybe we should start looking into some funding for that and replace that door and
A
maybe
sliding
even.
door or a new, no, I think a new door would be the best option. But it's just is that, financially feasible? I don't know. I think the next step would be to try to stabilize that door. And maybe that is futile. I don't know. Maybe that's
Well, I
spending
think-
money on something that's not worthwhile.
Yeah, well, you know how it is in maintenance and upkeep. It costs money, and of course, you wanna upkeep your buildings and make them operational and safe, most of all. And I think that door, and I'm not sure, how old do you think that door is on that one, John?
Gosh, it's
I believe the date on that hangar was done when Larry Bro was there, so I would say mid to late eighties. That's an estimate, but.
yeah.
So that
Door maybe is coming on 40 years old. I think it's probably, served its purpose and lived its life, and I think it's really in the
Agreed,
best
man.
interest to replace it with a new modern door and hopefully better motors and mechanisms to make it more efficient and operate, safely and effectively. But I really do think that'd be the way to go. And we could start looking into getting some cost estimates on replacing that and see how we can get it funded.
Well, that would definitely be the better option.
Yes, sir.
I was just thinking, if we're not gonna get a new door, let's
Yeah, and I think
the
at-
best we can to stabilize the door that's there.
Yeah, I just
And
don't wanna
make it
invest
safe.
a lot of money and it still be an old door. But I think our first, priority would be to get estimates and then see if we could fund it somehow. And then if not, then we would resort to having to, repair it and recondition it or whatever is needed. But we'll get some cost
Yeah,
estimates
and
to it
if
and.
any one of those cables goes and then it throws that force on the rest of them, it's catastrophic. It just, it's gonna go. And dangerous, like, even John's told me, don't get under that door.
right.
Yeah, you don't wanna be under it for sure.
Yeah,
Oh.
and I mean, I agree. But either, if a new door's an option, that's the way to go. If not, a little bit of stabilization I think would help it. And I know you're thinking about 10 and it's not that much, but I think it does add a little, I'm sure all the holes in that 10 are loose. It's all worn around it, and the door kind of goes its own way going up and down.
Yeah, and the wind, constantly moving those doors, it really impacts.
Mm-hmm.
I guess one thing I would suggest, is we look at that upper hangar, for whatever reason, there was the concrete floor, that the hangar was built on an existing concrete slab, only the existing slab is smaller than the hangar. And I think, the, as you look at trying to maintain that facility and that hangar, it would also be prudent to include consideration of maybe placing a new 4-inch slab on top of that existing concrete floor and dirt, at least around the perimeter. So that hangar was not, had some problems with it, has had some problems with it a long time, and of course, I had my aircraft in there for a number of years as well. But I think that floor needs some consideration as well. And then that would let you tie the bottom panels to the slab, because currently there's gaps several inches between the bottom of the sheeting on the walls and the dirt, actually, is what's there. So they're really, that was, I don't know why they built that hangar and didn't provide the balance of the concrete so that the walls could be tied in to the floor, but that's what happened. And it's been like that since I can remember.
Probably since it was put up.
I think so. And
Obviously.
if my memory serves, Larry Bro built that and then transferred it to the city. Through some arrangement that was made at that time. If we could, I mean, if we're looking at door replacement, I think we should look at other improvements to that hangar as well. Any other discussion? Kerry, I know you're in there now.
Yeah, it's a little scary under the door. I don't stand up, make sure nobody's under it, but it's smoother now. It's way better than it used to be.
Yeah, it's
And
better.
it was a little scary.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it goes up and down, and now it's definitely better. The cables are all there now and
Yeah.
stuff, so there's
Well,
still
my-
that one broken brace on it is all.
My thought is just take it one step farther and make it a little more stable the best we can. If a new door is not an option, I'd love to see a new door in there.
A new door, that sounds, I mean,
But,
yeah, I
you
agree
know,
with.
if that's not an option, I think stabilizing what's there, going one step farther could help it.
But I like your
That's-
idea of, now that you mention it, of, we're gonna try to patch an old door. It's like, I don't know, it's patchable. A new one, I think, is definitely worth
Oh,
considering.
yeah, I'd love to have a new door in there.
Kind of this, I don't know. if it-
And the concrete, oh, and by the way, who put the sandbags? That was nice.
We did it.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, because that does help. Just a few sandbags around the edge, just like you were talking about, because there is a gap. And that was nice.
The wildlife is kind of cool to look at, but they're kind of a pain to be in there.
Yeah, the wildlife. to
That
be
owl
in
is, that owl is pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
isn't it?
I like the owls in there. There's two in there
I
now.
didn't see them this last time they weren't there, but we had
Yeah.
that huge owl was really kind of cool to look
They
at.
help keep the critters down.
And I didn't see any snake. I didn't have snakes. They must have been around, but I didn't encounter them this year.
I had
There was quite a few this year.
Yeah, I had a, when my last year's annual was done on my plane, they removed the snake skin from the belly of my
Poor
plane.
hanger. Yeah, those snakes were all over down there.
I saw the culprit too, called up by the door, and just a little, a little bull
I
snake.
don't know if
It
this is
wasn't a-
similar or this is after, it's more, more personal. I mean, I was considering the hanger, is it an option still to get individual, like you have?
A little T hanger.
Yeah, is that an option if I wanted to do that? We're like, maybe we could do that. I guess I was curious about how that works and if that's an option and to consider that sometime.
That's really not on the agenda, Kerry.
Okay.
We could put it on there if you would like to discuss lease opportunities.
And that was more personal than, well, I don't know if it fits in, maybe it's already planned. We can ask after or whatever. But.
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Am I correct?
because we're talking about a hangar and because it's a money-making operation for the airport, i.e. you charge fees for people to park there, that makes it not available for FAA money, is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so the funding options you have do not include FAA in that.
That's correct.
Okay.
Since we're on that topic as well, is Harper still paying for part of the hangar?
He is.
Wow, okay. Well, the stop where that door, well, I don't guess it's gonna matter because his plane won't fit in there anyway. But where that, I like the stop. Where it's at, it's just high enough for our planes, but a bigger plane's not gonna, it's gonna have a harder time getting in there. He can put his nose in.
Any other any other items for discussion, gentlemen?
I have one quick one. Has the new city manager ever been up and toured the airport at all?
He has.
He has?
Yes.
Good. Thank you.
I spoke with him. But anyway.
No, I'm glad that at least he got up there and got to see it. And I appreciate that. Thank you.
One thing on this, that I did try to call the city IT guy like 4 or 5 times and never answered and left messages and never called, just to try to ask, we're gonna get internet out there better? He wouldn't respond to me, so I don't know. That was on my task last week, and I tried to call.
Oh, yeah.
Literally 4 or 5 times I called and I left messages most of the times. And anyway, I guess I'll try again. I don't know if anybody knows how to.
I know Desert Gate said they could get internet out there, but it's, who supplies
Desert Gate
internet?
never showed up. You said they were gonna go and I've not talked to them once, so.
Oh, well, I'll get them out there. I didn't know what all happened.
Yeah.
If we're
I
still
thought we had to
interested.
coordinate with the city IT guy, at least needed to be in the loop.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why I was trying to start there, but.
You know, that was back when we needed, you know, the card reader for the gas pump and whatnot, and they said they have a straight.
All of that's been addressed. We haven't had any issues.
Yeah,
with
no,
so.
that seems like that's working fine. It's, there's a straight shot for them to put, you know, the wireless internet out there. But when the card reader issue was resolved, then I
We
think,
have Wi-Fi in the building, so I'm
Yeah.
not sure what concerns.
Oh, I thought you didn't have enough, like, we were gonna try to have our meeting out there, but I thought you didn't have enough Wi-Fi to do that, or I thought it was not good, not very good out there, I thought.
Well, I mean, not sure what the.
Cause you're on like a hard old phone line or something, right?
Yeah, we're on the hard line.
But your internet is functional for you.
For us, yeah, and like I said, I mean, pilots use it for
Yeah.
running their flight plans, so.
it doesn't reach over to, I don't think the Wi-Fi actually reaches into the hangar,
I
but
haven't.
you,
Actually tried it, I was using my phone, so.
yeah. But it's fine, you know, when I need to use my, you know, check things on my iPad or whatever that needs Wi-Fi, I just go up, sit on the porch.
Okay. Any other discussion, gentlemen?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn.
Got a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We're adjourned. It's now 10:43. Thank you for your
Yeah.
attendance, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Alrighty.
Thank you, John.
Yep.